Autodesk AutoCAD. And in this lesson, I'm first going to cover the interface or the parts of the application. Now, to use the application, of course, the first thing that you have to do, you have to open it. That is, you have to click on the Start button, and then you go ahead and get select AutoCAD, and then the application is going to open up. Once the program has opened up, the next thing is to first look at the part of the application before we start using it. Now, my AutoCAD application is already open. At the top of the application, you go this bar here. It's called the title bar. This placed in AutoCAD, Autodesk AutoCAD. It's called the title bar. And that's where you're going to see the name of the document that you'll be creating. That is, once you create a document, then you save it. The name of the document is supposed to appear at the top. For example, if I save this document as James or my draft one, then the name draft one will appear at the top. Below the title bar, we've got this menu bar. Menu bar has home, solid, service, the menu item or the different menu commands. Below the menu bar, we have what we call the ribbon. The ribbon contains the different buttons or the different commands available on each and every menu. For example, if you click on the home button or the home menu, what happens is the options available on the home menu will be shown. If, for example, you click on solid, again, the options available on the solid menu will be displayed, and so on and so forth. So the work of the ribbon bar is to display the options available when you're using the different menu commands. So to keep on changing depending with the selected menu. Down here, as you can see, movement of my mouse, it's where we have the model environment. The model environment. And now this is where you're supposed to create your project. It is where you're supposed to draw. Below the model environment, we've got a section. As you can see, it's written type a command. This section here is called the command line. And on the command line, it's where you're supposed to type the commands that you like to use at any given point. That is, if there is a command that you like to use, like for example, if you want to draw a line, you can type the command line. It's going to help you draw that line. Below the command line, to the left, we have the model tab. There are 3 tabs there by default. On the model tab, it's where then you get to now create your project. Okay, by default, as you can see on the screen that is currently open is what you call the model environment. It's the one that is active. But once you're done with the model environment, if, for example, you'd like to have a preview of your project as it will look like when printed or when plotted, then you may have to click on the layout 1 and the layout 2. We'll be coming to that later on in some other lessons. Again, on the screen, we do have what you call the axis, the Y and the X. As you can see, X is horizontal and Y is vertical. To the extreme right of the screen, there's something we call the direction. As you can see, we have the west, the north, the east, and the south. This one is called the world coordinate systems. The world coordinate system. These are the default direction. But of course, as we go on with the classes, you're going to learn how to create our own directions. When we create yours, we then now get to call it the user coordinate system. At the extreme bottom, there's some buttons. These tools, we call them the Workspace Tools. They make your work easy when you're using the application. For example, if you're drawing a straight line, you may have to turn on a button on the bottom here. If you're trying to measure, or if you're trying to snap your drawing, you may have to turn on some buttons at the bottom. So now, these are the parts of the application. Now, once you get to the application, now where do you get to start? Before we start drawing, you need to understand that in AutoCAD, you can create 2D drawings, and at the same time, you can create 3D models. Of course, to start, we have to start with what we call 2D drawings. How do we create them? When I look at my environment, I'm seeing that it's a little bit different. This is like a 3D model. So what I like to do right now here is, I would like to first switch the environment to a drafting environment so that we get to do the basics in AutoCAD. Now, how do we get to switch? To switch the environment, you just need to move the mouse bottom right. There's this settings button here. And next to it, you can see it's giving the name Workspace Switching. Its function is to make it easy for you to switch the workspace. For example, I would like to now switch to 2D environment, that is drafting and annotation. Now to do that, you just need to click on this arrow next to the settings button, click on it, this small arrow here, you click on it. And when you do that, as you can see, it's popping up a menu there. You just need to select the first one, in this case, drafting and annotation. And the moment you do that, it's then going to, within a few seconds, it's going to switch the environment from the 3D environment that was current to now the drafting and annotation environment, and is the one that you're seeing right now on the screen. Well, it's already switched. Now, where do we start the application? Where do we start using your AutoCAD? Now, to use this application, the first thing that you need to do, first, depending with what you are doing, depending with what you want to achieve, the first thing you're supposed to do is to make sure that first you set what we call the units of measurement. How do you set the units? You see, in the beauty of AutoCAD is this: when you're using this application, if you want to like just do anything, you just need to write down the command. For example, I'm going to write down a command, and in my case, I'm going to write the command units. You see, even without clicking anywhere, the moment you type, the command is either going to appear on the title, on the command line at the bottom, or it's just going to appear next to the mouse. I've done it. So after that, you press enter. When you do that, what is then going to happen here is this: as you can see on the screen, the drawing unit dialog box is going to open up. Now, depending with the type of drawing that you're dealing with, what happened here is you just need to click on this arrow pointed down here. Well, as you can see, we've got different type of length. We've got architectural, decimal, engineering, functional, and even scientific. So you then have to make sure that you select the correct type of length depending on the type of drawing that you're working on. To start with, I'll just work with the default one. I'm going to use decimal for now. But of course, as we go on, with the different lesson, you see me coming back and then changing these units. Then the next thing is to change what we call the precision. Precision is about accuracy. It's about the number of decimal places. So like in my case, I prefer using 2 decimal places at all time. Now, once you've done that, the next thing is to set the unit of measurements. I prefer using centimeters. Of course, you can use, depending with where you are, could be any part of the world, of course. You can use millimeters, you can use miles, you can use decimeters, whatever unit you prefer. I am going to use centimeters. Then on the other side, if you're going to measure angles, you also need to go ahead and set them. For now, I'm not dealing with that. I'm just introducing you to the basics in AutoCAD. So after setting all those things, the next thing that you need to do is to click on the OK button. Well, the units are set up. The next thing that you need to do is to set something called the scale. Of course, these are default things that you must always do every time